Hello viewers, welcome today to an episode of Pass the Hash and a golden ticket attack. Today I'm going to show you with one of the latest versions of Windows Server 2022 version 21H2 and Windows 10 22H2 and how we're going to perform a Pass the Hash attack and a golden ticket attack. Now I am on Windows Server and I have two user accounts. As you can see, user 1, and that's a member of domain users, and user 2, which is a member of domain users, so it has no administrator access whatsoever. Now this is the administrator account. As you can see, it has a member of all of these user groups, as you can see, and we're going to be trying to get access to this account over here. So let's head over to the client computer, which is a Windows 10 machine. So CLI, let's try that again. Let's try it here, there. Here we are. And let's try to go to a compromised workstation. So here, this is Windows 10, as you can see, 22H2, one of the latest versions. And here we got a command prompt running as anti-authority system, as you can see, and here we've got a command prompt running as the current current domain user. As you can see, we have no administrator privileges, and if we try to gain access to the C drive of the domain account, so // $1C$, as you can see, access denied, so there's no way we can gain access to it. So we're going to find out how we can gain access. We're going to find out how we can perform access to that share. So let's do it. Let's start. So the first thing you want is to create an exception for mimikatz on Windows Defender, assuming the host is compromised. We assume the host is compromised. And by the way, we created a service for command prompt. Now, if you have an older version of Windows, you actually don't need cmd.exe to run as this parrot administrator. So you actually don't need this. But because you're running a newer version of Windows doesn't store any more longer credentials on this computer. So we have to have cmd.exe running as parrot administrator in order for the credentials to be stored locally on this computer over here. So let's say that cmd.exe is actually performing a backup on the DC system. So let's now run mimikatz. Okay, mimikatz, and let's do a dump. Okay, and let's go over. So let's find the administrator. Let me have a look over here. User 1. Here we go. So here we are. Batch from 0, administrator parrot, log on server DC1, and here we are. So this is the NTLM we need. So we need the NTLM. Now this is basically what I got over here. This is the same hash as this one over here. Now we can do this command over here, but we don't really need it. This is optional. So all we need to do now is copy this. So you need to copy the hash over here. So let's say you need to do SKUSAPTH pass the hash / user administrator domain parrot NTLM, this hash over here, and then run cmd. So copy that, paste, enter. So now we're running as now we're running as a domain. If I do who am I, it says I'm running as anti-authority system, but that's where it thinks it runs. The current logon session, if we run over here, is running as a different logon session compared to mimikatz, which is running at 3E7. So in reality, we're running on a domain credentials. If we go to Notepad, 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 and I go to File, Open, and I go to // DC1 /C $, you'll actually see, hang on a sec, DC1 /C $, try again, enter. You will see this time we are now on the domain controller, and now we have access to the entire. So if I create a new folder here, and I call it test, T-E-S-T, test, and I go to DC1, open Explorer over here. You can see we're able to create test over here. So as you can see, we have now access to the domain controller shares. Okay, so let's now go back to client, and let's refresh that page, and now it's gone. Okay, let's close this window, and let's not close this because we need to perform a golden ticket attack. Okay, the next part basically to perform a golden ticket attack is now to know the domain. So the domain is green, and now we need to find out who the user is. Now we're going to find out who the user is. So who am I, user? And we need only this part here, so ignore hyphen 1103. Now I already did this already, so it will be exactly the same as before. Okay, it will be exactly the same as before, but this requires no privileges, this requires no privileges, but this part over here does require privileges. So what we need to do is LSA dump DC sync / domain parrot.green user KR BTGT. So this is basically performing a DC sync to gain access to the Kerberos. So we're going to do it over here. Hang on a sec. Be nice if I actually type in the full path of it. Hang on a sec. Wrong command. Need to copy this. Paste. Okay. So here we got the SAM username for KRBTGT. Now all we need is this over here, #NTLM. We need the first part over here. Now I already got it, and it should be the same theoretically speaking. So let's verify that it's the same, and it is the same. So now we're going to run this command in the user account. So M, enter. So I'm running this now on the standard user account, so there's no privilege needed for this part. Enter. Final ticket saved to file. Now still keep in mind, still access is denied, but now as soon as we do this part, we should be able to get inside. Let's see if it works. Okay. And as we can see, we're now inside the domain controller. Let's create a folder for the sake of it. So I created a folder. I'm in DC1. Let's go to DC1. Let's see if it's there. And there we are. There's the folder created. So now I have access to the domain controller. And as you can see, I'm able to delete it. So you can see, this is what's called a golden ticket attack, and it creates persistence, and even changing the password won't even help, because the golden ticket can last for quite some while in the system, even if the user account, even if the administrator password is changed. I'll leave some resources, I'll leave some links and resources in the comments below. But what I will do, just to prove the point, I'm actually going to log off and log on to another user account, and I'll show you the example what we need over here. What I mean, what I mean. Okay. So I close, and I'll just close this window over here. Close this, close that, close that, close that, and we'll sign out. Okay. Other user, USERTWO, password PASSWORD. Oh no, great 257, sorry. GREAT257. Okay, here we got our compromised system as running as anti-authority system, but we'll ignore that window because we don't need it. Here I'm logged in as user 2, which is an ordinary user account. We'll just wait for the system to boot up. Just hang on a sec. And we'll see if we can access the domain controller. I'm in a separate user account, so DC1 \C $. As you can see, access is denied. So I'm going to open a new window, workspace, exceptions, Murex trunks, x64, and just let me type in a CMD. Just give me a while, please. Okay, so now we're in. I'll copy this command in. That's all I need to copy. That's all I need. That's all I need. Paste. And now we're going to see if we can get access. I'm in a separate user account. No admin privileges. I'll just pass the ticket. So let's see if we can gain access to it. DC1 \C $. And we're in. We're in. Create a new folder. As you can see, it works perfectly fine. DC1, and there we are. There's the new folder created. As you can see. Now, of course, we can go further. We can also create a shortcut in. We can also write to the Windows. So I can actually create a shortcut in Windows. Even in System32, we can also write to the folder as well. As you can see, I can also write to the folder as well. So it tells you basically the amount of damage I can actually do to the domain controller. So as you can see, this is an example of golden ticket attack. So what we did basically first basically we grabbed the hash basically from the administrator. Okay, so we did the pass the hash. Then with that we basically did this command over here using the administrator logon session, so the domain account, and then we did basically this over here. We created a golden ticket on the user account, and then we passed it so the user account could gain access to the domain shares. Now this basically means we have access to the entire domain. The entire for this domain, for Parrot.Green, we have access to the entire Parrot.Green domain. So to all the services in Parrot.Green domain. That's why it's called the golden ticket attack. I'm going to leave some resources to you, as I said before, so I won't repeat. I'll leave some resources for you and some links so that to give you a drift. I won't go into depth. Basically, this is basically more of on how it's done. But I'm sure the resources will give you some insight, basically what it is, how it works, and a more detailed description in what I'm telling you, but this is more in about how this is a tutorial in how you can do it on Windows Server 2022 21H1 and Windows 10 22H2. It's possible this can work in Windows 11, but it'll be a lot more difficult as Windows 11 has this called credential guard. So Windows 11 will be a lot more difficult. As you can see, basically, it's a bit more difficult to dump credentials in to dump credentials basically in Windows 11. So it's probably this wouldn't work in Windows 11. Now this can be turned on basically on Windows on Windows servers and Windows 10 Enterprise as well to limit this attack. So things can be done, enforcing least privileges in some of your domain accounts, particularly if you're doing backups. So there's a lot of things you can do to actually prevent this attack from happening. Yeah, keep in mind to always be careful and make sure you're patching Windows up to date and using latest applications, and making sure that the vulnerabilities basically are monitored, and making sure these things don't occur basically in a particular environment. Anyway, I want to keep this video short, so that's all I have to say, and thanks for watching.